All right, welcome to our first ever Not Offended podcast. Hey, what I want to do real quick is I want to just start off with who we are and then why we decided to do this, but also who we are, what we do, and a fun fact about us. I'll go first. My name is Anthony, and I am the senior pastor of Adventure Church. That's pretty much what I do. But here's a fun fact about me. I lived in Australia. For almost 4 years. I am a Navy brat at heart, born on a military base, and they wanted to move us to Australia before I was born, but because my mom was so pregnant, they decided to wait. So I believe it was 6 weeks or so that after I was born, we flew out to Australia, and I was there till I almost turned 4. So I even had a little Australian vibe going on, a little accent. So it was pretty cool. So that's a fun fact about me. So we'll go this way. We'll go, what's your name? Yeah, what do you do?
Absolutely. This is Bill Richardson. They call me the agent. Not Asian, right? So my mom is Japanese, but I am the agent. There you go. And real estate broker here in town. Dipped into a lot of different things in real estate, from the agency to flipping houses and things. But a little fun fact about me, I guess we'll go with I am an ex-athlete. So I like to think I am still an athlete, but my wife reminds me the other way. So I used to play professional baseball. So that's a little fun fact about me.
What position?
Shortstop, of course. Yeah, the best position, shortstop. Play right up the middle.
There you go.
My name is Mike. I'm one of the pastors at Adventure Church. Fun fact about me is I don't have a lot of fun facts. That's why you marry a wife who's fun. Fun fact about me, I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, where this podcast would be very scrutinized with a lot of people who are offended about everything. So I had to move out of there, out of the offense, and down to Fresno.
Give us your nickname for the podcast.
I don't know.
We gave you the nickname.
Yeah, we gave you a nickname. It was the Token.
Oh,
You're
the token
white guy.
The
Yeah.
token.
Yeah.
Yes, but we won't say anything racist.
It's just the only name I can come up with. The agent, the token.
Like it being racist is all depending on how you view it. Okay, so
Here we go. This is why we decided to do it. Go ahead. Who we got?
I'm DeShawn. I am a pastor at Adventure Church. Fun fact about me, ain't much fun, but let's see. I dunked a basketball on a 10-foot court in the 8th grade. First time I dunked.
Okay.
Nice. And what's your nickname?
I don't know.
The Bishop.
Okay, I'm not gonna call myself the Bishop. Never.
you think I'm gonna call myself the token?
So I take it. I came up with all these nicknames. This was all me.
Yeah, you didn't give us your nickname.
Well, I was gonna go with the conservative Cholo, and then I went with the conservative Chicano, and then I don't know. You guys can pick either one. So that's what I've been called in the past. So that's what I was gonna roll with. So, hey, here we go. So we want to talk about some topics, current events. So I'm going to dive right into it. We're going to go with the sports one. Announcing yesterday, we're all on a group thread together on a text message, and somebody drops the dime that the GOAT has returned. The GOAT is back. He's back in the building now. I'm talking about Tom Brady. I am not a Tom Brady fan. As a lifelong Raider fan, I feel like that's like going to the dark side to like Tom Brady, but you do got to admire greatness. Tom Brady is back. Let me get some thoughts. Let me get some feelings. Shout out to all the Niner fans. Sorry you missed out on him. He didn't go to the Bay. He went back to Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you right now, taxes. That's the whole reason he went back to Florida. Taxes. Okay, but anybody got any thoughts on it? What do you think about Tom Brady being back?
Oh, man. That didn't take long, right?
Did you think that he was going to stay retired? Like that was going to be his send-off?
Me personally, I really did think he was going.
He wants a float.
He does, but I thought he was going back to the Bay. I really did think he was going to the Niners.
Wade King got his contract.
What was that?
He couldn't got his contract. They won't let him go. Tampa Bay won't let him go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I'm glad to see him stay. I want to see him because he is the greatest ever. So if we get the
DeShawn likes goats. He just likes.
But will you argue that he's not the greatest? I will not argue that he is the greatest ever.
I think he proved that he was the GOAT when he went to Tampa Bay. And
That's a good point.
And he won a
I think he was a GOAT before that. When he got, 6 rings?
6.
Nobody's even close to that.
Well, there's franchises that got 6 rings. That's it.
Yeah.
Not people.
So he's the greatest franchise of all time. Right?
He is the franchise. Ooh, that's his big
And
thing.
so,
The franchise.
and so when you got to 6 and then 7, like he's talking about being the greatest athlete, one of the legends of all time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to catch him Super Bowl wise.
I don't
Too
know.
hard.
I don't think as an organization, Jacksonville Jaguars will ever catch him to 6 rings, 7 rings. I don't think so. I think I could give you 15 NFL teams that will never, 16 NFL teams that will never get to 7 championships.
Easy.
So
yeah.
how is he not the GOAT? And now you said, who said he was the GOAT before he even
I
went?
thought so. I thought before you got that. That one just put him as a legendary athlete.
Well, then there was
When he got
always
to
the
6.
argument, right? Is it him or is it Bill? Is it him and the organization? Is it
Yeah.
all this? But then when he went to Tampa Bay, I think it just solidified because he went the first year or the second year he was there.
It was the first
Year. Yeah, they didn't lose. They didn't win last year. So
Yeah.
I mean, you take a current roster that was essentially right around the same roster as the year before.
Well,
just inserts
and we
one
did
position.
argue that. Was it Bill Belichick? Now, we all agreed they were the best duo, head coach. I think the only people who argued that would have been Montana and what? Not Seifert, but it would have been Montana and
Bill?
Bill. Yeah, so it would have been them, Bill Walsh. But I think 2 things. I think they were the best duo, quarterback, head coach, and I think he's the best quarterback. As much as it pains me to say that, and listen, as being a person who just loves football, I mean, before Brady, I consider Joe Montana. You know, what he never lost in a Super Bowl. First off, nobody's been to more Super Bowls than Brady, and nobody's won more than Brady. And who knows? If he comes back and wins it again, and this is number 8, where do you put? He might just go down as the best athlete, period, of all time.
yeah, but I think a lot of people are hoping for a crash and burn here. With Tom.
I mean, do you think he's going to crash and burn this
No.
season? I don't think he's going to crash and burn this season.
man.
He's up for MVP this last
Okay,
season.
I think we've had this discussion about him. I'm interested in what that conversation was at home with Giselle coming back. What did that go like? What did Tom say?
Or she said get out of the house. I don't like that.
Wait, but he's been doing it for the last 35 years or however long.
No,
he's
it's
been-
not 35.
So what's different now?
Yeah.
I don't think the conversation.
Well,
at home changed.
the whole thing was he retired to go be at home, right?
Okay,
With
so
the kids, he was missing out on the kids.
It's only
Right.
football season is only 4 months. Big deal. He's
Well,
home
he
8
plays
months.
into the 5th month.
Yeah,
Yes.
5 months.
Yeah,
7 months.
And
If he
and he's so big time, he can train whenever he wants. He's at home more than probably anybody else. At least he has the leeway with his schedule.
He does.
Like
He does. So here comes the question about Tom then that we all need to ask. What do you put his chances at winning the Super Bowl this year? I agree with what you said. Did I think Tom was going to retire? No, because I think he deserves the Kobe farewell tour. I think he deserves that tour. Every place he goes, I think people need to honor him, respect him. You got to respect the game.
Yeah.
Like whether or not you respect him, you got to respect the game. And he has single-handedly made the game legendary. Like people are going to tune in. This might be if you're Roger Goodell, you just put your hands together and thought, man, COVID restrictions are over. We're not going to have to worry about vaccinations or anything. And the GOAT just came back to do a farewell tour. Like, this is going to be NFL ratings galore. And if he makes it to the Super Bowl, I'm going on record right now. This will be the most watched Super. I don't care who they're playing to. I don't care who they're playing. It'll be the most watched Super Bowl. By the way, where's the Super Bowl at next year? Is it in Vegas? I
That's a
think.
good question.
What? But if it is in Vegas, wouldn't it be absolutely epic to be in the Mecca gambling capital of the world to see the greatest? It'll be an NFL's juggernaut. It'll be the biggest dream ever to see that come to pass. So I'm just saying, if you're Roger Goodell, Tom Brady just did you the biggest favor ever by coming back for this farewell tour. This is just my opinion.
well, and his chances of getting back to the Super Bowl are really good in the NFC.
Well, for sure. I'm
If
thinking
he's in the AFC, it's stacked.
it is stacked.
But in the NFC,
Yeah, you're right. Who's competition over there? It's
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Dallas.
Depends on what San Francisco does. Depends on what they do.
I think that's where.
But you got
really
the
wanted
Rams.
to
I don't
go,
know.
right?
The Rams just won it,
Rams.
so you got to factor them in. You know, who do they keep in free agency? Who do they lose?
But I mean, if you compare that to trying to come out of the AFC right now, it's way harder.
Well, the AFC West particularly. If we want to talk about. We don't need to talk about.
We don't
this
need to talk
episode.
about it. As a Raider fan.
As a Raider fan,
we are not winning the offseason.
no.
We're not.
Hey,
We're
would
losing
you
this offseason.
re-sign Max Crosby? I mean, hey,
Yay.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah.
Max Crosby. Shout out to my boy Max.
What a big splash. That
Yeah, I felt great about it. But yeah.
The kicker?
No, defensive end.
That's about right.
The defensive end, the white guy.
Oh, re-signed though.
Yeah, Reed, that's what I'm saying. You re-sign him. You give him $100 million.
Yeah. So I think.
What is he going to do with that in Vegas?
I think that I'll put it to you this way. I think everybody who plays Tampa Bay next year, excuse me, will have a sold out stadium.
Sure. What was that? Somebody just bought that football. His last touchdown.
Ooh, 518,000.
3 hours later.
Oh my gosh.
3 hours. He dropped $500,000 on a ball. 3 hours later.
That was supposed to be Tom Brady's last pass.
And so, do you think he makes an announcement that this is my last year? And
No.
then, so every stadium he goes to is like this last time I get to watch. it?
Okay.
Because you can't do a farewell tour if he doesn't
You'll
announce
try
it.
to play another season at what time says.
Because this is last,
Yeah.
this is last year on
Contract.
contract in Tampa Bay.
And so he really wants to end it as a Niner.
That's-
Is
yeah, I
that
think
your
so
thought?
much.
Okay, but what if the Niners go a different direction?
Well, no. Okay, the Niners are definitely going to take him, right? Even if it's next year.
No, but I'm saying, what if they go and they lock up a quarterback who is worth his salt? Not like a Kirk Cousins, right? But like,
Oh, whoever Kirk's cousin Asian is, he deserves an award.
he's made over $240 million.
Shout out to my boy
Oh,
Kirk Cousins.
let's go.
I don't know
I'm
you.
not mad at you.
But if you need a chaplain, I'm your boy. That's all I got to say.
Hey.
Because whoever your agent is phenomenal.
And-
Kirky Cousins, that's my boy right there. That's impressive. Okay, we digress.
sorry.
Okay, so you don't think it's Tom Brady's last year?
Yeah, I forgot what age he wants to play to, but I think he still keep playing.
Well, how old
It's
is he now?
45, and I think it's this year.
He wants to play to 45. Was that the age?
So,
Okay, but here's my question. If you get another ring, by the way, Gronkowski's going back to Tampa Bay. I don't care what anybody reports. Tom and Rob are like peanut butter and jelly, ball and glove. You can't have one without the other. I think Gronkowski takes 4 or 5 games off, but he's back in some Buccaneer uniform. I see other free agents. I don't see Antonio Brown coming back, but I'm saying I think other people go. So you don't think Tom announces everybody so he can get that fanfare tour? Nothing? You don't think so, huh?
I don't think he wants it. I don't think he cares.
No.
He'll be out.
yeah.
I don't think that he necessarily wants the Kobe farewell tour, but his last game, I think he wants did you see Big Ben's last game?
Yeah.
I think he'd want something like that.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. If I'm an NFL owner, Tom, do me a solid. Let me know if this is your last game here because I'm fit to make some money. I'm gonna get paid.
Well, he tried to bounce out of Tampa Bay, so I don't think he really cares about the owner.
Okay.
He tried
Okay,
to
good
leave.
point. Okay, good point. Okay, so we're gonna transition to another hot topic. Let's talk about gas. Has anybody filled up their gas tank? You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm so scared to fill up my gas tank. It's on a half a tank, and I'm already putting gas in it. And I'm paying a little over five. I think it was a little over $5.50 a gallon. Now, true confession. Don't think I'm bougie. Don't think I got money. But I never used to put in regular gas. I was always either Plus or Supreme. And in my wife's car, because it's newer, I still just do Supreme. I bite the bullet and I do Supreme. But what do you guys think about what's going on with gas right now? Someone's got to be lying. Someone's making money.
Well, someone's always making money.
Yeah. Well, I thought also it doesn't hurt so much. Anytime I drive home, go get gas. So it'll be like $5, $10 every time, but it doesn't feel that bad.
So you're basically getting a gallon.
Yeah, you get a gallon, you get a little bit here and there. That way you don't feel the $8 hit when you put gas in your car. It's only that $5, $10, you feel better about yourself.
So the bishop recommends that every time you go home from work, just stop and get gas, whether or not you need it. Okay.
Well, depending on what day of the week it is, you might save yourself 50 cents.
That was the reason why. Because Walmart, the new Walmart, opened the gas station. So that morning it was $4.69. It was the cheapest in Fresno by like 40 cents. By 3 hours later, my wife went and it was $4.99.
Woo!
And I was mad I didn't go that morning. So I was like, you know what? I need to keep going. Because prices going up every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So put this into perspective. 2 years ago is when the pandemic started. We are right up on that anniversary. I think in a few days, there's gonna be a post that came out 2 years to the day where Gavin Newsom and all his genius that he is said that 56 million people could possibly die if we don't do something. And at that time, gas was a little over, I think, $2.50 a gallon. 250.
Oh, that's depressing.
And then we have the gas tax, and then we have this, and then now it's because we, allegedly buy all of our crude oil from Putin, and now we got the war. So here's the question: where's it going to top out at? How much are we really going to end up paying? Everybody knows gas goes up in summer.
About like $1 usually in the summer.
You think it's going to go up $1?
This usually does.
So we're going to pay $6.50 a gallon.
It's going to max out at $7. I don't know, but I mean, so many other industries.
Now, I'm not talking about the Bay, and I'm not talking about LA. I'm talking about here in the 559. I think for sure the Bay's getting to 7. For sure some parts of LA and Orange is getting to 7. But are we going to see 657 here in the Valley?
I mean, I don't think they listen to people like us when we start griping about gas prices. They could care less. But I think they start listening to big money. I think there's going to be industries that are really affected by gas
Diesel's
prices.
already $6.50.
But when you start talking about people not traveling in the summer,
Okay.
I mean, we were talking about it last night. Connor was like, hey, I'd really like to take the kids on a drive somewhere, but I don't want to pay for it. And I was like, shoot, I know if you don't want to pay for it, it's bad. Because I never want to pay for it.
It's true.
But I was like, think about the summer. People try to save money by driving rather than flying.
Okay.
People aren't going to be driving. Hotels in Pismo, all these different places are going to be affected. People are not going to want to drive. It's going to cost an arm and a leg to drive somewhere.
Wow.
I think like when you start having big business, big industries affected, then their lobbyists and their people start talking, and then those are voices I think that those ears hear.
All right.
They can care less about what we say.
But I'd say I think there's people in government that's not too mad about the gas prices. Think about it. What they've been pushing the last few years is electric vehicles. So how do we get people to get into electric vehicles? Well, make them pay at the pump.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
they maybe look like they're upset or mad about gas prices, but what are they doing about it?
Okay.
And they're really pushing this green energy stuff, and I mean, who knows, right?
We talk about green energy. We talk about electrical vehicles, which I mean, I'm cool with it. The new Rivian trucks are supposed to come out. They look nice. Ford is putting out that new Ford Mustang looks great. I mean, Teslas are nice. I'm all good with electric vehicles, but if 1 million people went out right now, if all of Fresno County, 1 million people went out right now to try to buy an electric vehicle, what's going to happen to the electric vehicle market? First off, there's supply and demand. It's not going to be enough. It's going to shoot the prices up. Don't go buy a used car right now. You're paying $5,000 to $10,000 more than you should, right? So what's that going to do to the electric vehicles? Then, how are you going to replace all the batteries? The batteries are good for what, 50, 65,000 miles? Then you got to spend another $20,000, $25,000 on batteries. Who's mining those batteries? Where are we getting the lithium? This is not as easy and as reticent as people are trying to talk about.
Right.
But gas is going to go up. How are the common people supposed to survive when you're paying more for your groceries because of the diesel? You're paying more for us. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to sit by and just take it? This is the question I ask myself.
Well, what's the option?
Well, I think my personal opinion, I always tell everybody, if you don't vote locally, how do you expect it to change globally?
That's always my whole thing. You want my vote? Lower the gas prices and cut my taxes. You got my vote. I'm not easy. Because that affects me directly in my pocketbook. All the other stuff, that affects me directly. Fix that stuff. I'm not here for Black Lives Matter. Cut my gas prices. Cut my taxes. We good. You got my vote.
Yeah, the bishop has spoken.
Hey, what do you say? People vote their pockets, right? And
pockets are, listen.
Yeah.
Inflation, here's the scary thing. You're not even factoring in gas prices and diesel prices when you're talking inflation. Everybody got sticker shock when they saw bacon jump. It's going to jump again because it's just costing you more to get the goods to you. I mean, this is, okay, so which leads me to this. We're coming upon the literal 2-year anniversary of COVID. So now that we've got it, somewhat in the rearview mirror, I asked the question, was it hype and hysteria? Or was there some truth to this? Where do we really land now? 2 years. Hey, by the way, I got a video of me preaching on a Saturday night March 14th, before this 2020, before we were supposed to go into the Tower Theater on a Sunday. And I'm specifically quoting in this video how nobody can find any toilet paper. Y'all remember the toilet paper? The run on toilet paper?
Yep.
And nobody could get toilet paper. And it was making all
Scary
sorts.
times.
It was scary times. You could not get no Charmin double ply. You know what I mean? So here's what I'm going. I believe, looking back at it now, this was the beginning of all these prices starting to come up.
Yeah.
It was the beginning. And you hear this, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you hear about this reset. If you remember, everybody was trying to get minimum wage to $15 an hour. Let's get it to $15 an hour. Let's get it to $15. Here's the problem. When you get minimum wage to $15 an hour, everything else was going to go up.
Yeah.
Rich people will always pass the cost on to you.
You think the middle class is being eliminated intentionally?
I don't think the middle class is being eliminated. It is being eliminated. If you look at the wealth gap now, the middle class has been decimated. Listen, if you make $50,000, $60,000 a year right now, you ain't making nothing. You better off just being poor. If you ain't making over $120 a year, you're living like a person who only makes 40 or 50. Taxes are so. By the time you factor in gas, by the time you factor in food, I can't believe how expensive groceries has gotten. I walk out shocked every time with my carton of groceries, and it's like, I spent $400 on what?
Yeah. So I heard this. I was talking to my barber about this. The quality of life above $60,000, from like $60,000 to $150,000, it's not that much difference.
Nope.
Because the more you make, the more they take from you. And so you really got to go. If you're making $60,000, you got to go all the way up to the bracket of like $250 for you to make a difference.
Gas and taxes.
So if any politicians are watching, DeShawn has said you can have his vote for gas and taxes. It's just that simple.
I will interject though. For all my friends out there who are making like 100, 110, maybe even 80 or 90, let me try that out for a year. Let me go ahead and try that out for a year.
You gonna get back to us?
And then I'll let you know how bad it is.
Yeah.
Okay?
But I said quality of life,
He did
right?
say
So
quality of
so
life.
we're talking about.
That is some rich stuff. Quality of life. What does that even mean? Talking about electric cars. You see my car.
Hey, Mike.
The only difference, you get a better car. That's the only
That's
difference.
it. More money, more problems, man. That's what I'm saying.
Ooh, the great theologian Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
Always spoken by people with money. Hey, you don't want to be robbed.
No,
Let's try it out.
you get there and they take all your money. They catch you. Uncle Sam shows up and you're like, what happened, bro?
Who is Uncle Sam? I've never met the guy. I want to meet him. Okay, so this is what it comes down to. So going back to COVID, going back on 2 years, what do you guys think about it now? Did we get set up for something else? I mean, not once again, not mitigating or relegating or diminishing the virus itself, but was there something else going on too? Is it possible to do two things at once?
People always take advantage of stuff. So
Okay.
that always happens. But no one knew anything. Everybody was wrong. I don't care who you tell me knew everything. Everybody was wrong about everything. Or if you're on the left, on the right, I don't care where you're at. You are wrong about COVID. You open your mouth about COVID, you are wrong at some point. Period.
Yeah.
But people always take advantage of anything. Anything happens, like people taking advantage of unemployment during the COVID. Anything that happens, people are always going to try to take advantage of it. How can I use this to benefit me?
Yeah.
So big companies like Amazon, they're like, man, this is great for them. The COVID was amazing for them. Like he made so much money during that time.
Right.
So it's always the rich people are going to get richer, other people are going to suffer. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, to me, I looked at it kind of, man, where are we? Like, you look at how people reacted in our behaviors to something like that. Like, just, it kind of looks at it like, where are we as a society, right? Where we just go at each other during that time. And so, and then you add everything else to that. And so that's kind of how I looked at it, is how did I react to it, right? Did I read into it? Did I go from a 2 to a 10 on everything? That's kind of how it seemed like. Like everything was emergency. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just listened to Kevin Durant, going back to a little sports talk, calling out the mayor, Adams of New York, and saying, hey, what are you doing? Kyrie can show up at the basketball game, but he can't play in it. And even LeBron James tweeted in, and I'm like, you talk about facts. The facts is Kyrie's sitting next to all the players on the bench, but he can't play. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the mayor fires back and he says, if Kyrie wants to play, tell him to get vaccinated. He can play tomorrow. It's that simple. And it's like, how far are you going to ride with that? And I'm watching two stubborn people go at it and seeing which one's going to concede and, which one's going to give in. And I think you're right. I think what we thought we knew. And here's the scary part, piggybacking off that, we're going to go over a little bit on this segment, on this part. I think the further we continue to go down the road, the more we're going to learn even more how wrong we were. In some cases, maybe how right. But as far as the taking advantage part, that's a fact. There are people who have exploited this, and I think that's what needs to be brought to the light. And I just think that as we continue to put this further and further in the rearview mirror, we're going to find out some things. And this is going to be a real shock. And I think the one word that's been missing is transparency. I think we have been lied to. I think there's a lot of things that they haven't been transparent about. I think local governments took advantage of this.
A lot of money. COVID goes on, the more money was given up.
The more money the federal was kicking down to give in, right? So I feel like from locally to globally, you're right. People saw an opportunity and they exploited it. And it was at the cost of who, though? Us, taxpayers.
Well, I think what my little 2 cents into this is when you take a step back, you see that people are frustrated by some of the little things that took place. For example, so as of midnight Friday, my kids didn't have to wear masks anymore to school. Okay, but that decision was made 2 weeks prior to that.
Right.
So between Thursday and Friday, was there some big shift that happened? Like, all of a sudden this great wind came in and blew everything bad out of the air. like you still got super bad asthma, but you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And so for like normal folk, I think we look at that and be like, hey, how do I trust some of the other stuff that may be true that's coming out or that came out when you have some of this craziness that on the other end? So there are medical things that came out with COVID or about COVID that I think some people just was like, I don't listen to it. I don't believe it at all because of things like the mask stuff.
Right.
When there may have been like some serious legitimacy behind it, but people didn't want to listen to it because of the crazy stuff that came on top of it. When people try to exploit things, because we try to make some money off some masks. We're trying to make some money off a vaccine, right? So it's like, on one hand, how do you balance misinformation that is totally geared towards people exploiting and valid information that you probably should abide to and listen to?
Great
and
question.
It's like you're constantly going back and forth. And that goes back to, at the end of the day, all these people who were so staunch and this is what happened were wrong.
Right. So let's segue here. We talked about people benefiting, right? So I don't know if most people watching this know, but we're going to give a little Tower update.
All right.
We're going to spend this last segment talking about Tower Theater because it was 2 years ago today that we were supposed to move in and hold our first service at the historic Tower Theater.
Oh, shoot.
On March 15th.
We were racist.
Before we were misogynist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, and every other phobic you can think of, we was gone.
Man, but those last 2 years, we really got bad.
It rained that day, too.
It did. It rained that day. So here's what's interesting. Talk about local. Talk about money. We are still the only church in the great city of Fresno to be fined for a COVID violation.
Didn't Miguel say you didn't get fined?
Miguel Arias doesn't read his own paperwork, so he wouldn't know what we got fined for. But we are the only church to get fined for COVID. Any thoughts on that? It's like a badge of honor for me now. If I can just wear it as I was fined for COVID, were you? I don't know. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on that? We're still the only church to be fined for COVID because we were meeting in the historic Tower Theater during lockdowns because I said, Newsom who? And I said, if they're good enough to go to the store and to Home Depot, I'm good enough to give people an option to come to church. If they wanted to, by the way, it was still, as a grown adult, you still had a choice. People were still clubbing. They were still partying. They were still doing everything they were doing. I know nobody wants to admit it, but I saw your Instagram and your Facebook. I knew what you was doing. So if you could do all that.
But they had their mask on.
But they had their mask on, okay. You can't. Was you drinking through your mask? Nah, okay. Anyway,
Of course they were.
Anyway,
They
you
were
gotta,
never-
you
they were
gotta,
never.
you know, we decided to have church. So anybody got any thoughts? We were fined for COVID. Then they tried to switch it up. Bill and I's got the paperwork. They tried to switch it up and say it was a zoning. And then they came back and said, you can't fine them for zoning because there's nothing wrong with the zoning. So they had to go back to the COVID. So that's it, guys. We were fined for a COVID violation.
You mean we're not breaking any zoning laws either?
We weren't breaking any zoning
That's
laws.
crazy. Because they're protesting, saying we're breaking zoning laws.
We didn't break any zoning laws.
I remember writing that check, or Mike, you wrote that check. I had to write a letter along with it, just pretty much saying we're giving you this money, but it's under protest.
Yeah. So my lawyer, I call him. I go, yo, we just got fined for COVID. I don't want to pay it. He goes, oh, you have to pay it. I don't want to pay it. You pay it. I don't want to pay it. He goes, no. But when you pay it, Anthony, you are going to write the words, I pay this under protest. So I was like, ooh, what's that mean? He goes, nothing. It just means you are paying it under protest.
They still cashing it.
I don't even, yeah, I thought they were going to hold on to it for 90 days or something. He
It's
goes,
so-
no, he just says you don't agree.
So it's important to mention when that was, right? That was January 2021.
Yeah.
Right? And so they fine us. And remember, the word got out of us buying Tower Theater
Yep.
in December of
Yep.
2020.
Oh man, we'll have to
So-
talk about that on an episode one day.
And we
talk
have been
about
meeting
what we had to do in
there-
December.
Correct. And we have been meeting there since May, June,
May.
like 6-7 months
Right.
ago. And so the timing of it, to me, is real reflective of how this thing got so political, right? And
Yep.
so they knew we were meeting there. They find us for or they find out we're buying the Tower Theater. Then they
Yep.
find us that next month.
Yep.
And so to me, that's and it's been political ever since. And so you have to ask yourself, what's the city's involvement, or what do they want?
Well, they're corrupt politicians, Bill.
Masquerading under COVID policies. That's what happened.
Masquerading under the... Oh, just all stuff.
There you go.
Hey, they politicians. You can say you're a believer, but hey, if the lemon tree don't produce lemons, it ain't a lemon tree.
Woo!
It's unfortunate because the two people over there, they're Mexican. You think they want to help another Mexican out?
No,
obviously
no,
not. They
no.
want to step on the Mexican and get on top.
I thought puro la raza right here for the gente. That's what I thought. I guess
You
not.
would think so.
No.
Translated as for the race for my people. That's all I
They
said.
just look at Mike and say he's a pastor. That's how they get around.
Let's just put him on camera. Let's tell everybody here it's him.
Yeah. So that brings me to this. Since we went there, do we feel like the purchase of Tower Theater is political? Do we feel like it's political?
Well, it's not political. We're on purchasing it.
Not the
That part.
purchase.
Yeah, the
but
purchase.
everything else.
No, has this turned into a political a political flight here, a political fight? Like, what do we think is really going on? Because obviously we're not. But I feel like it's like, what's the real protest about?
Well, I give you this. So the start of all this really, yes, was the fines. But when the two council members got on Zoom, right?
That's
and-
Miguel Arias and Esmeralda
Esmeralda,
Sorias. Everybody knows.
They
Yeah.
got on their Zoom and they invited all the protesters, people who were against us buying it, gave them that platform, right?
Yeah.
And gave them a public platform and went out there and said that Adventure Church is going to have to go through a rezoning. Adventure Church is going to be bad for businesses. When
Right.
they opened that up,
Right.
that's when it really took off.
Right.
And so yes, it did turn political because they gave the protesters this platform that and said that the city's behind you guys. We're behind you guys. Don't worry about it. If Adventure buys this thing, they're going to have to go through this rigorous process of rezoning, which we've never asked to rezone, which they already gave us permission to be there.
Right.
And so yeah, absolutely. So they turned it political.
What do you guys think?
No, she's a liar. We went to one of her meetings, Soria, where she helped. They're talking about that bodega getting their liquor license. This place is literally across the street from Fresno High, in the middle of the Mormon church and the Big Red church, and they got their liquor license. I'm like, man, you're such a liar. I'm sitting here in this meeting. You're saying we can't do it, but they can do it. It's like, how much more can you be a liar? It's so clear that you're just lying through your teeth. It's like, man, I'm not even trying to put you down. I don't know you. But it's simply right here in front of me. I'm sitting in this meeting, and they're doing the thing you're saying we can't do. The church can't be there. Just like, man, you're such a liar. And plus, we're buying the whole block. I don't care if they keep selling liquor. You're paying rent. Why do I care? Why do we care?
Yeah, I think we understand. We've been in the tower for 11, going on 12. We understand the area. There's no doubt that the Olive Block is there for the nightlife. We know that. It's not like we're coming in from a different area and not knowing that. And so, it certainly turned into that.
Well, I think Jerry Dyer coming out and trying to get us to go somewhere else in his attempt to be one Fresno caused more division than it did any type of unity. And I think now that you have city councilman and a mayor who says, I too, and says he's a believer, and says, hey, we're basically going to do anything that we need to do to get that church out. And now here we are facing eminent domain, possible eminent domain actions. I mean, how is this? My question to you guys is, how is this not political? Even though I know we didn't make it political, we didn't get up and do anything. How is this not a political hit on us? Because I think anybody who can get Adventure Church out of the tower is going to be deemed the next savior of Fresno. To a certain group of community, to certain people in the community, they're going to be deemed the savior. And now, of course, the other people in the community are like, dude, never vote for this person again. But I'm saying we're like the prized possession right now. If we can get rid of Adventure Church, you will be held the next great hope of Fresno.
Because they get more votes. The whole thing, when you have power, you want to keep power. You're not trying to lose the election. So what do I have to do to keep power? You're willing to compromise anything to keep power. Power always wants to keep it. So if I have to go after the Adventure Church, even though I know that I do anything illegal, then I'll do it because I want to keep power. I'm not trying to lose the power that I have.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's as a politician, it's all about you.
It's true.
Right? So Soria is getting ready to wash her hands of this district, and she's getting ready to move up, right? Or attempting to move up.
Right.
And when she moves up, I got money that says that she'll come back and she'll maybe even attend a service like she has done before. Or, you know what I mean? Or be chummy with people who go to the church as she currently does.
Right.
And so because it's not personal, it's politics.
It's true. It's a good
right?
point.
And so like if you look at it from even a different perspective, what the mayor did, which was unfortunate, was the mayor played his card of a believer to hurt us as a church. And so what you're seeing is the Christian community in Fresno going, okay, well now we've got to choose sides between our believing mayor and this Christian church.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, then you have him who ran on the backs of all the believers.
True.
So they're going, okay, well, where do we stand? So where do they stand? Was they stand quietly in the corner. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
And so we're caught in this political, triangle of you have all these politicians who are continuing trying to make their way up. They'll do whatever they do, sacrifice anybody, family, it doesn't matter, in order to get to the next place that they're going. You got a mayor who's selling out anybody and anybody who he can. I mean, lemon trees. And then you got us who we're just trying to say yes to Jesus.
Well, at the end of the day, I think that's when people, if they attend our church, that's what they see. We're still doing. I know, and I hope this podcast gets out, and I hope people listen to it. They ask us all the time, what is Adventure Church doing? We're still doing what we were doing before. We still bless the community that's in need. We still give to nonprofits in this community. Dollar for dollar, I'll take anybody who's come against us, and I'd love to see what you did, because I know what we do. And what we do can't be touched, because we're a very generous church, and don't nobody want that smoke. Don't nobody want to compare dollar for dollar, because I know what we gave to the Marjorie Mason. I know what we gave to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I know what we give to the Rescue Mission. I know what we give to everybody. And so for people to come at us and throw us, and try to throw us under the bus when they don't do enough, I know how we take care of our property, how we get there every Sunday morning early to pick up the broken glass, to clean up the streets. I know what we do. And not to mention, I know that what we bring, we add value to every place we go. And despite what people believe, we've never turned away homeless people. We've always done what we can and what we could, and we will continue to do that. And we're going to do more. And for the record, we've always stated we'll never shut down any bar. You can open up any bar you want next to us. We do not care. We don't care how many pot shops you open up. We don't care how many smoke shops you open up. We don't care about anything you do. You go ahead and do you, because we know that when you add a life-giving church to a neighborhood, the whole neighborhood gets better. And I'm glad they always bring up, as Pastor talks about, he's going to give a redemptive lift. Well, if you listen to my description of a redemptive lift, then you would know exactly what I mean. What I mean is we're going to help with the homeless. We're going to keep the streets clean. We're going to give kids a safe place to come gather, hang out, and play. We're going to continue to do what we've always done on 1012 North Palm Avenue, which is add value to the community. So that's what I say. And it's unfortunate that it's turned political, because the only policy we follow is the Lamb's agenda. We don't serve a donkey, and we don't serve no elephant. We serve the Lamb. And it's on earth as it is in heaven. It's about kingdom business. And so I hope they hear this. And I hope people who profess to be believers realign themselves to the Lamb's agenda, to this is supposed to be kingdom ministry. And I know we're not popular right now. And I know we're still in the middle of a fight, but I'll tell you this much. Every conversation I ever have with anybody who comes up to me is when Adventure Church owns the theater. When Adventure Church owns the theater, this is the hill I'm dying on. And until Jesus shuts the door, right? This is it. This is it. We are literally, this is our defining moment. So I want to encourage everybody who's been tuning in, keep us in prayer. Keep us in prayer. The fight still continues. We continue to do exactly what we said we would do. As everybody who follows the Tower Theater page, they're still hosting shows and we're still having church. We have done everything we said we would do. And so for us to not follow through on the purchase will just be not like us, because we do everything we said we were going to do. You guys can tune in every week to this podcast. This is the Not Offended podcast. I'm pretty sure something we said today probably offended you, but we are doing our best to just bring it out to the open and have real talk, real conversation with some real people. But we do appreciate you guys. Spread some love by spreading this link and letting people know this is what it's all about. 4 guys getting together. And by the way, the big idea in doing this is sometimes during the week we get together and we talk about all sorts of stuff. And one day I said, this should be a podcast. So here we are. Make sure you spread the word. We love you guys. We're out. Peace.